So when it comes to tying a tie, we want to ensure that we are wearing the correct shirt. The collar is in place, button all the way to the top, and if you have two buttons here, leave them unbuttoned, and then it is all down to the tie selection. Now the tie doesn't have to go with the shirt, you can go for an eclectic look. But I've selected this design here. So here is the shirt and tie combination. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I want to ensure that the tie is completely exposed under the collar. Just give it a little shuffle. Okay, so from this position we have the thinner end in the left, the thicker end in the right. Now it's a case of judging your length. So I have the short end just a little bit more than halfway up against the thicker side. The total length of this is about an inch above my belly button. Certainly don't want an irregular length tie. Okay, take your left hand here, right hand here, rotate and pin like so. Right hand over, bring the thicker side through the loop and slide. Just ensure that your nails are smooth and don't pull the fabric. Okay, from there, pin, right, bring round horizontally, the index finger there, fairly loose, and then you bring your thicker end through the loop there to the front, and you'll be in this scenario here. Index finger will have a little bit of give to widen that area for the thicker end to slide through. There we go. I'll replace with thumb and index finger there, and on the thinner part, release, grab the front, gently slide, but don't make it too tight. Gently pull on the thinner end, supporting the neck, and bring her up there. This is where you can choose how much or how little you want to fiddle, alter, refine your appearance. That is usually what I opt for, something like that. A nice thin neck, fairly high, but not so much that it's going to strangulate you. You can feel free to button up there, and then we take our hole there, and the short end can slide through to keep things streamlined there. And my friends, is how to tie a beautiful tie there. Okay, so this could go one of two ways. I'm going to try and do a nice smooth shave under the neck. First thing I'm going to do, have some warm water here. Obviously, I usually do this in front of a sink. Some face solution here. Give the area and skin a little clean. And your towel. And I'm going to introduce some shaving gel to the area. Feel free to use whatever you like. Okay, there's your gel. And then it's time for the blade. Now I'm just going to dip this in the hot water. And then I'm going to start the shave, going with the grain, never against, personally. I like to start at the bottom. And work my way up. Smooth downward strokes. Also want to avoid any nicks. So far so good. Okay, we're getting very close to the jawline now. This is where experience plays a part. And I'm just going to try and shape a little bit here, like so. And for the right hand side. Not looking too bad there. That is how to do a nice smooth under neck shape there. Okay, so for checking the pupils, first I have to establish that they are equally round. But I'm not seeing any irregularities to the shape. And then I introduce the pupil size measuring scale here. Just look towards me, please. And I'm just going to measure the size of each pupil. You're looking towards me. And I will check this in brighter lights and dimmer light conditions, especially when focusing on any signs of anisocoria. we check their responses to light. I'm going to ask you to look off into the distance rather than a close object. We don't want to induce any near constriction. So we pop the light in the right eye, check for a constriction, and then the left eye. And then if we're shining it in the left, we look in the right for a constriction there, the consensual response. In the right, looking in the left. That is completed, and then we do a swinging flashlight test. Approximately 3 seconds per eye. Checking for a relative afferent pupillary defects, none present. And then finally we check the near constriction, so I'll look off into the distance, and then add my finger back to the distance, and at the finger there, and I can see that they are constricting when you look at something close from distance there. Let's opt for a nice cup of British tea. We have sugar, if you like, tea bags, milk, boiling water, and a very beautiful cup there with the bees. And of course a little brewing pot. I believe we have a PG Tips pyramid back there. It goes in the pot. Some boiling water. You can obviously control the strength of the tea depending on how long you brew it for, or how much milk you add. So I'll just leave that to brew there for a moment. Now if you're diabetic, you may want to substitute the sugar for a sweetener or no sugar at all. I personally like just under half a teaspoon. So the tea is at 20 to 30 seconds there. Apparently 20 seconds is the perfect tea, but I like a little bit longer. Okay, once you're ready and you're happy, pour your tea. Into your cup. I like a little bit of milk. This is whole milk. Just a little splash. And then all you have to do is give it a little stir. And there you have it. 1 cup of British PG Tips tea. Cleaning your spectacle lenses, you're going to need a microfiber cloth. Certainly not any items of clothing for this task. Have your spectacles here, and a bottle of lens cleaning solution from your opticians. First you want to spray the lenses. There we go. I'm going to this pair by the bridge, cloth in left hand, and then just gently work the solution over the whole lens surface. And then we wax on and wax off. Right to the edges and behind the pads if possible. Any adjustments to the frame, new screws, or if the sides are digging in, take your frame to your opticians for an adjustment. As you can see, we have nice clean bifocal lenses there. And I'll clean your second pair. Work your solution, spread it nicely, and then using the middle finger and thumb, just work it in. Get rid of all those stains, blemishes, any scratches. You may need new lenses. So this pair is missing a pad, so we need to go to the opticians there for replacement. But that is the best way to clean your spectacle lenses. So for a restful night's sleep and better sleep quality, let me show you what I personally do. I've created my triad of unwinding. We have doing, we have delicious, and we have done. We have the triple Ds. What am I talking about? Let me show you. Starting with delicious. After dinner, I like to consume a small piece of fruit that I know is going to potentially increase my melatonin levels. What works for me? Well, I'll tell you. A stick of pineapple. You may find things like kiwi fruit or oranges work well. So about 30 minutes before bedtime, I'll try just a little bit of fruit to see if it helps. Now in terms of doing, you want to avoid the scenario where you're in bed thinking about what you're going to be doing the next day. You need a clear plan beforehand about what tomorrow involves. For example, your waking time, who you're planning on seeing, any meetings, you need to know the time, and a few other little examples, what you're having for lunch and what you're cooking for dinner. Just a few examples, but just ensure before you get into bed you know what you're doing the next day. And then once in bed, we move to my favourite part, done. Now this is listing in your head all the positive things that happened or that you did on this day. Now it can be the most innocuous things, but list through some positive things in your head. For example, you smiled at somebody, you didn't react to any nonsense from anybody that you encountered, either directly or on the road, for example. You did a favour for somebody without expecting anything in return. Another example, you gave to charity. And another one is, let's say you're on a diet, you kept to your regime. So just list in your head, once in bed, all the positive things that happened or that you did, and then hopefully with all these elements combined you have a very restful night's sleep.